Hello everybody, it's me Pierre here, and today I wanted to wrap this up. I am way off to one side. I am so sorry, let me move over. There we go. Unfortunate camera angle because my one wire is broken, so I cannot put my camera up there like I normally have it, but that's okay, so it's right here, and plus my recording is right here, so like I can see both. But anyway, besides the point, my mic is not facing my direction. There we go, that's probably better now. Anyway, so I wanted to do a early access wrap up of the Oasis driver for the HP Reverb G2 and also Windows Mixed Reality in general. I'm pretty happy with it. So tomorrow is the full release of Oasis. I'm excited for all of you guys to get your hands on Oasis because it is a game changer because you don't have to deal with Windows Mixed Reality anymore, and that was like one of the worst parts of any Windows Mixed Reality headset was the software. So no more Windows Mixed Reality, and you get way more options with Steam VR with Oasis. So, but I'm gonna get into the the pros first, then I'll get into the cons because I want to talk about the pros that are really good. And the first pro is that, well, obviously you get to use your headset again. It's not a brick anymore. So you get to use it for as long as you want. The G2, Acer, Lenovo, all those Windows Mixed Reality headsets, you are allowed to use again, but there's a caveat to that. Only if you have an NVIDIA GPU, because AMD and Intel graphics cards, they do something completely different than NVIDIA does, and something different because NVIDIA interacts with Steam pretty well or something like that. I'm not exactly 100% sure. That is one of the cons. You do need an NVIDIA graphics card though. But if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, you could use your Windows Mixed Reality headsets till the end of time, I assume. Another pro is that you get this headset like the G2. I'm specifically for the G2, and the Omnicept version of the G2. You do get awesome eye tracking, mouth tracking, and you could get the Omnicept for probably a good price, especially if people don't know. You can use the headset again. You could probably get it for a good price, the Omnicept edition, and get yourself eye tracking and mouth tracking with that. As for just the G2 in general, you get this awesome visual experience that is like it competes with high-end headsets still to this day in visual quality. You get this amazing visuals. Sure, it's not OLED, but it's a good LCD, and it looks very good and very sharp, and everything looks photorealistic, just like the Big Screen Beyond or like the Pimax Crystal. Sure, it will be on par with those, but not like, of course those headsets will be a bit better in visual quality, but the G2, being for how old it is now, it still has great visuals, so that's great. Another thing is that you get to use your controllers with it, so that's good. So the G2 controllers do work with it, and all that fun jazz, which is awesome. And I think the room setup is actually, for me, I'll get into some cons here. I'm gonna get into some cons. The room setup is not great, so like when you set it up for the first time, it's like it thinks it's a base station headset, but that's not it's not his fault. It's more Steam defaulting it to that. And so you would always have to pick up the headset and the controller to draw your play space, and it's not great. And it's similar to how you would do it with base station headsets, is where you draw your play space like that, but you have to keep it on the ground or like on a chair, so it knows where the ground is and stuff, but it doesn't always work, unfortunately. For me, it's like a 50-50 chance if it's going to remember where my floor is. It always remembers where my boundary is just fine. It just never remembers where my floor is, so my head is always in the ground sometimes. Not always, but like it's a 50-50 chance. So I'm lucky to have something called FPS VR, which fixes that issue completely, so I don't have to reset the play space every time. I just raise myself out of the ground using FPS VR. Not everybody is going to have that option to them if you don't have FPS VR. So that is one of the cons that I hope gets fixed on release. Remember, this is an early access review. I want to be really clear on that. This is not a final review because obviously the release is tomorrow, and we'll probably come with a bunch of fixes and stuff and probably make it better for the user. Another con that I have is I hope gets fixed in when it fully releases, is that on the bottom of the screen, I showed it in my Five Nights at Freddy's VR test. It happens in every game. It's not as noticeable in some games, and then it's extremely noticeable in others, where about 5-6-ish% of the screen, only on the bottom, is like frame tearing. I don't think it's exactly called frame tearing. It's definitely not your usual frame tearing. It's more when you move your head. So see, let's make a line here. You move your head and it's moving like this. So this is the bottom of the screen. Actually, it'll be better like this. So this is the bottom, this is the top. And when you move your head, it's slow. It follows behind it a little slower, and then it connects up as soon as you stop moving. So that's how I can explain it. And it's only a small bit of the screen way down here. It's not as noticeable if you keep the mesh on. So if you keep that mesh, that adds a little bit of a black border around. It's not that noticeable. You don't see it. You only see a tiny bit of it. But if you turn off that border, which allows you to have more FOV without needing to mess with the FOV sliders, once you turn off the mesh, it's really noticeable, and I don't know exactly why that's there, or I don't know if it's happening to other Windows Mixed Reality headsets, but I know it's happening with the G2, and it probably happens with the G2 Omnicept as well. Let me know in the comments below if you early tested this, and if you're also having problems with that. That's a small con because it's not that noticeable if you don't look down a lot with your eyes. It's really not too bad, but it is something I would like fixed. But that's about all I have really for cons. Oh, and I guess there's one other con. I hope the pass-through gets fixed, and I hope it's less buggy with index controllers, because if you noticed, I did say in my video that from now on I'm going to be testing the G2 with just index controllers, and I haven't been doing that. There's a 50-50 chance again where for some reason Play Space Calibrator just absolutely fucks up where you are in your room and shoots you up to the sky or below the floor, and your head just is down there or way up there. Sure, I could fix it with FPS VR, but then it fucks up the calibration that I just calibrated sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. It's a really big mess that I don't want to deal with, so I stopped using index controllers for the G2 for now, because it is kind of buggy. But when it does work, which you've seen in my video when I tested it, when it does work, it works fucking great. There is a little bit of a tracking problem too as a con, which is, since now that you have to use your PC's Bluetooth instead of your headset's Bluetooth, I find that the controllers fly away sometimes. But it comes back pretty fast, but they do fly away and then they come back, so your hand and VR chat might just start drifting off away, and then it'll come back after like 2-ish, 3-ish seconds. That never happened to me with the G2. It happened to me with the G1, not G1, sorry, Lenovo Explorer. It happened with that headset because that headset doesn't have Bluetooth, so I had to connect the controllers to the PC, so I'm assuming it is PC Bluetooth problem. So, if the Bluetooth in the G2 worked, I'm sure that problem would go away, or unless if it's a different bug with Oasis. Let's move on to some pros here again, because it's awesome. The headphones and the microphone, if your Windows Mixed Reality headset has a microphone or headphones, it will work. And same with eye tracking, mouth tracking. If you have a Windows Mixed Reality headset with that, it should work with Oasis as well, which is great. Now, if you're not using base stations, it's really easy to fix the G2 if the floor didn't save, because, like I said, it's a 50-50 chance, it's a gamble. Will your head be in the ground? Will you be 7 feet in the air? Or will you actually be properly where you want to be with your head? If you do have FPS VR, if you have OVR advanced settings or anything like that, you could easily fix where your height actually is. So you can fix that very easily. But if you don't mind that, and you're just using the G2 with its controllers, it's actually pretty easy to fix. You just reset the room setup, or you can get FPS VR, which is like $3, I think, or you can get OVR advanced settings to fix that problem yourself if you want. It's very cheap. It's much easier to fix, honestly, than having to do the whole room setup again. Another con is that it stayed the same forever. The G2 does not work in the dark, and I don't think it will work in the dark when it fully comes out. But yeah, that's my current opinion and review of the Oasis driver. Do I like it? Yes, I think it's phenomenal, and I think he did a great job. I'm really happy with what it has, what it's doing, and bringing back these Windows Mixed Reality headsets to life. I'm happy to use my G2 again instead of my Vive Pro because I can actually see 2 millimeters in front of me. So it's really, really nice to, use this headset again and have fun. So the main things I would like to see fixed on full release is hopefully the full pass-through works, because right now it's on its side, so he needs to tilt it back up or something. I don't know how you fix that. I know this stuff is hard, and I don't like to, be super critical about it, but I do hope better pass-through will happen, because I really don't like the flashlight type thing with the Windows Mixed Reality, because it is similar to flashlight, but it's better than flashlight, but it's still not great. So I hope he fixes it for the G2 specifically. I think the other the G1 and the other headsets of Windows Mixed Reality don't have the problem. I don't know, don't count on me on that, but they might not have that problem. But I heard that the G2 specifically has that problem where for some reason it's sideways when you go into pass-through, and I don't know why, but I hope that's fixed on release. Another thing I hope that gets fixed is a better way of room setup. I know it's hard to make that kind of stuff, but I think the G2 would benefit very much from a better room setup than what Steam VR is offering, because the room setup, it is somewhat better than what Windows Mixed Reality had in some ways. Both of them kind of go back and forth. Both are not great, but they both have their ups and downs. For an example, the Steam VR one is a 50-50 chance if it's going to remember your floor, and as for the Windows Mixed Reality one, it was really easy to fix your floor by raising it up and down, so that was nice. But I also like the way you draw your room layout better with the controller by holding the trigger and bringing the headset with you and doing that, because I found with Windows Mixed Reality Portal, the G2 sometimes just stopped tracking your room layout when you're drawing your play space, but this one just doesn't do that, so that's really nice. So I guess that's kind of a pro and a con. It's a little trade-off, but I really do wish it would be better than Steam's default, because this is not a base station VR headset. It is a self-tracked headset being inside out, not outside in. So since it's inside out, it thinks the headset's a base station. That's so weird to say, because the cameras are on it and it sees the controllers, and it even the room setup says it's a base station. Keep it in the view of the base stations, the controllers on the ground, so you can map out your ground, but it's a 50-50 chance that works. So that's my main problem, is the pass-through and the room setup I really don't like. But I do like everything else, because the little thing that I was talking about, by seeing that little frame tear or something going on down there, it's not that big of a deal, really. And I do wish the G2's Bluetooth worked, but that's okay. But I think he did a good job, and so far my early access review is, it's good. For an early access app, for early access software, it's good. And he did a lot of work on it, and I'll continue to use it. I hope PlaySpace Calibrator plays a little nicer with the G2 in the future, and not just the G2, just Windows Mixed Reality in general, to use index controllers. I hope that works out a little bit better, because it is annoying when I go flying up into the stratosphere whenever I turn on an index controller or something like that, or it just erases my play space completely. Or it just shoots me into the floor, and sometimes it tilts the headset this way, and I start going like this, slowly into the ground. Every time I use PlaySpace Calibrator, it's just a nightmare. It just fucks up really bad, and I don't know why. I really hope that gets fixed. I don't know if that's an Oasis driver problem, or if that's an OVR advanced setting, not OVR advanced setting, not that. I don't know if that is a setting for I don't know if that's a problem. What I'm trying to say is I don't know if that's a problem for PlaySpace Calibrator or Oasis driver. I don't know if that's a problem for either or. But yeah, it's not a very frustrating experience. There was only 2 games that didn't work for me, which was Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, which is really unfortunate. It does let you in the game, and the triggers, the grips, and the buttons work, just not the joysticks, so you cannot move. But as soon as you try emulating Oculus touch controllers in that game specifically, it just breaks. It just doesn't even let you see your hands anymore. It just breaks hard. It shits the bed hard. Like, buttons and stuff don't even work anymore at that point. So Saints and Sinners, unfortunately, is really broken with the G2, and not just the G2. I gotta stop saying G2. Windows Mixed Reality, it's really broken with Windows Mixed Reality right now. I'm sure it works with G1 controllers, because it looks like it's a very Vive-based game with the touchpads, so maybe it works really well with the G1 controllers, being Generation 1 controllers of Windows Mixed Reality, but I do not know. Haven't tested that. I could have tested it, but I haven't. As for car parking simulators, I also tested, and it just didn't work. Even with I have not tried it, actually. That's a lie. I've not tried Oculus Touch emulation for the controllers, but I have tried just regular G2 controllers, and it just didn't work. The hands just stayed in your head for some reason. It was really weird. Just didn't bother tracking for car parking simulators. So those are I only found 2 games where it didn't work, but the rest of the games, which you see on my channel, work fucking great. I do have to test more games to see if there is more problems, but for now, that's really good. And honestly, I'm good with the Adventure Climb being the last game I test. But on full release, which is tomorrow, I will test it out again, and I'll do a final thoughts video. I'll test it on my own time. I will not make videos on games I tested, because I've already tested those games. I will make posts saying if the games are better than they were on early access, and I'll also make a post about if a lot of the problems that I talked about in this video are resolved or things gotten better with Windows Mixed Reality. Super happy about it. Anyway, very happy with it. Thank you so much for bringing back Windows Mixed Reality headsets from the dead. So if you hear talking upstairs, sorry about that. There's not much I can do about that. But, anyway, this is Pira. Stay cool. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. A 7.5 out of 10. I'll say that. For early access. Remember, this is a early access review I'm talking about. Early access. This is not full release, so. Tomorrow it releases. I don't know if it's like a full release. I don't know if it'll still say early access, but or early whatever. But yeah, I think there is a little bit more tweaking to be done and a little bit more stuff. But I don't know these things. I'm sure it's actually really hard to work on this stuff, and I'm trying not to be so critical. I don't want to be mean, but so far it's a 7.5 out of 10 for me. Early access. On full release, we'll see if that jumps up to like a 9 out of 10 or something. But I do think Windows Mixed Reality headsets need just a little more tweaking with Oasis, and to make it a little more friendlier, especially to whoever buys a Windows Mixed Reality headset and that's their first time getting into VR. Make it a little more friendly and stuff. I do think the play space, draw your play space and work on your play space kind of thing with Oasis needs a different way of doing it, because I don't think this way is very good of doing your play space. But yeah, it's again not terrible and it's doable, but yeah. Anyway, let me know in the comments below if you guys are excited for Oasis. Let me know what you're looking forward to, and to see how well your headsets do with Oasis, because I'm excited for its full release, and I'm sure a lot of you are. Yep. So, those are my pros and cons. Sorry if it sounded very weird, so I'll go over it again really quick here. Cons is that 50-50, so a 50-50 chance that when doing your room setup, it will work properly. Sometimes it won't. And then I do hope the pass-through gets fixed for the G2 specifically. I think it's just a G2 Pro. If it's not, then Windows Mixed Reality. I hope the pass-through gets fixed. It gets a better pass-through. And I wish the Bluetooth worked on the G2. I get it if you can't get it to work. Fully understanding about that, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I get it. Those are my main problems. Oh, and I guess that little artifact that I'm seeing on the bottom gets fixed. But that's all I have to say, because honestly, I'm very happy with it. And like I said, the pros, you get to use the headset again. The controllers work really well. I actually think the tracking is better, by the way. I actually do. When it works really great, it actually feels better than Windows Mixed Reality Portal did. So, yeah. Anyway, that's just a little rant I had for early access. Early access. Remember, guys, that's an early access review. Do not take this as the final thoughts of Oasis. Sorry if you hear talking again. But yeah. If you guys like this video, hit that like. If you disliked, hit that dislike. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell icon so you don't miss any more of my content. This is Pura. Stay cool, and more G2 content on the channel coming right away. And from now on, I'm just going to be recording VR chat videos again, and maybe more VR videos of other games. Yeah, I ranted for a long time now, 21 minutes, but I'm very happy with it. Don't take this as me hating on it. I actually think it's good, and I think it's great for newcomers to VR. So yeah, again, I do think it needs some more polish, but yeah. We'll see you guys on full release tomorrow, and tell me in the comments below if you come back to this video from tomorrow, and leave down in the comments below and tell me if it's working really well for you. Alrighty, I might be dumb and also doing stuff wrong, but I'm doing my best. This is Pira. Stay cool and stay the fuck out of my fridge, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Sorry if it sounded like I was yapping too much, but yeah, I tried anyway. I get carried away when I talk too much sometimes, but yeah. Anyway, bye-bye!